Would you agree with me that your product should not be used where there is impure water? Yes or no? What is your position?
Not.
Where the people are so poor that they're not going to realistically be able to continue to purchase that, which is going to endanger the health, that it should not be used.
Yes.
The year was 1970. Nigeria just ended the 3-year Biafra Civil War. The country was in ruins, its infrastructure wasn't there anymore. Thousands of people were malnourished, and the healthcare system was really overwhelmed with injured and sick people as a result of the war. At that particular time, a silent disease crept into the lives of thousands of babies that were giving birth to at that particular time. You see, after the war, a lot of soldiers that went to fight returned to their families, and once they did that, they met with their wives and resulted into thousands of pregnancies. A lot of foreign baby formula manufacturing companies saw an opportunity to make a lot of money, and so they realized that pregnancies means thousands of babies, and thousands of babies means that these babies would need something to eat, and so they came with their products to sell to Nigerians, because prior to that period, Nigerian mothers were used to feeding their babies with only breast milk. But they came to Nigeria hoping to convince a lot of Nigerian households to change from breastfeeding to using their baby formula products. And because of this, a lot of baby formula manufacturing companies started aggressive marketing campaign to promote their powdered milk as a superior alternative for natural breastfeeding. They started to create billboards, radio jingles, television advertisements showing smiling healthy babies being fed with baby formula by elegant modern mothers, and image meant to symbolize progress, wealth, and sophistication. Mothers in areas like Lagos, Ibadan, Port Harcourt, Kano, Kaduna were targeted because they realized they could make a lot of money from that particular area. They visited various clinics at that time, various hospitals, and they gave out samples to new mothers who just gave birth to children. In fact, they went to the extent of giving bribes to nurses and midwives in order for them to recommend their baby formula products to new mothers who just give birth, and to persuade them for moving from natural breastfeeding to using their baby formula products. You see, the companies that were involved in selling these baby formula products in Nigeria at that time included Med Johnson Manufacturing Company Limited, Abbott Laboratory, as well as Nestle. Now, Nestle was the largest baby formula company operating in Nigeria at that time, and they controlled about 40% of the $2 billion infant formula market during that period. Now, as a result of their aggressive marketing and how they went about bribing nurses and midwives to recommend this their baby formula to new mothers, it actually worked. They saw a steady increase in the number of new mothers who were buying these baby formulas for their babies, as against using their natural breast. And places like Lagos, Ibadan, Kaduna, Port Harcourt saw a wide increase in mothers using their products more than before. In fact, it got to a state that more than 50% of new mothers started using baby formula products rather than their breast milk, which wasn't used before prior to these companies coming to Nigeria. Now, as a result of this increase, money started flowing in like water. A lot of these companies set up multiple factories in Nigeria in order to boost their production, because there was increase in demand, and increase in supply and demands means more money for these baby formula manufacturing companies in Nigeria. But by mid-1970, pediatric hospitals in Nigeria started reporting a sharp rise in infant illnesses and deaths. They discovered that babies who were being fed only these baby formula products were showing symptoms of diarrhea, dehydration. Some of them were even getting infections. And they began to wonder, how come these babies are showing these symptoms? In fact, the doctors and nurses who were working at these hospitals reported that the affected babies, they showed distended stomach, suckling eyes, they were showing signs of severe weight loss, frequent diarrhea, and infections. And the doctors were puzzled because they felt that babies who are fed these baby formula products are supposed to be energetic, because these products are supposedly nutritious and supposed to help their immune system and fight against any disease at all. By the time health officials and hospitals recognize the scale of the problem, thousands of babies have actually passed away. Now, because of the amount of babies that were passing away, the Nigerian Federal Ministry of Health, in collaboration with the Lagos State University Teaching Hospital and University College Hospital Ibadan, decided to conduct a laboratory test on those infants that were dying in their thousands, because they suddenly discovered that the infants that were passing away were majorly the ones that were being fed this baby formula product. Now, during their investigation and lab testing, they discovered a lot of horrific things. In fact, they discovered that the baby formula mixture causing this crisis was linked to Nestle baby formula, one of the largest baby formula manufacturers in the world at that time. Now, the formula in question was Nestle Lactogen and non-Nestle Advanced Nutrition. Both products are powdered milk products meant to be mixed with water before feeding infants. It contained dry skim milk, an ingredient meant to replace breast milk, vegetable oil, lactose, milk sugar, vitamins, and minerals. They discovered that the formula itself was not what was causing the problem, but how it was being used by these mothers because of lack of education by these companies, as well as the aggressive marketing style these baby manufacturing companies were using on Nigerian mothers at that particular time. Now, Nestle heavily marketed their baby formula as a more superior alternative to breast milk to poor and uneducated mothers through advertising, free samples, and they even went to the extent of hiring sales representatives to dress as nurses. And as a result of all these particular advertisements, many of these mothers believed them and they dished natural breast milk for their baby formula, which caused the growth of baby formula in Nigeria at that time. But the major reason why Nestle baby formula was causing death was because natural breastfeeding provides babies with natural immunity against infections. And since mothers were convinced to stop breastfeeding early, their babies missed out on these essential antibodies, leaving them vulnerable to diseases, which resulted to thousands of deaths of infants due to the lack of proper education. Now, coupled with the fact that at that time, a lot of families in Nigeria lacked access to clean water, and because these baby formula products are supposedly supposed to be mixed with water, they mix their water with contaminated water, which eventually affects the health of these babies, causing thousands of deaths. But it was actually discovered after a lot of investigation by the Nigerian body that this problem didn't happen to only Nigeria as well. It happened to a lot of other countries in Africa. It affected most developing countries in the world, to the extent that the global health activists and journalists started to investigate this crisis at that time. Eventually, they made a report in 1974 exposing how Nestle and other formula companies manipulated poor mothers in developing countries into using formulas leading to preventable child deaths, and it was actually titled The Baby Killer. As a result of that particular report, it led to a lot of worldwide revolt. In fact, it became so wide that it actually started the Nestle boycott, where a lot of countries started boycotting Nestle products and preventing mothers from using any product made by that particular company. And the protests gained a lot of attention around the world, especially in US, in Europe, and parts of Africa. And they kept on hailing that Nestle kills babies. Nestle kills babies. Nestle kills babies. However, in Nigeria, the Nigerian government were pressured by activists and international organizations to respond to this particular crisis and give a report on how they were going to curb this particular act of sabotage by Nestle. And by late 1970, the Nigerian government, under this pressure of the World Health Organization and UNICEF, started discussing the regulatory measures necessary to control baby formula marketing in Nigeria. But despite this particular crisis, that led to death of thousands of babies in 1970. Nestle was actually not convicted anywhere in Nigeria or even across the world. When Nestle was asked why their baby formula was causing this death, they denied that they were involved in any of the allegations and stated that it is not their responsibility if mothers didn't educate themselves well enough before they used their products. And they also claim it is not their fault if people don't have access to clean water which they were supposed to use to feed these their babies. Now, what do you think about that particular crisis? Do you think that the Nigerian government has done enough? Make sure you type on the comment below. Let me hear your thoughts. I will see you in the next one.